Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So today we're talking about Dazzler 34. Um, again, another interesting cover. This is not the first time she's been in prison in this series, but that's what it looks like that she's in prison. And so what happens is they just jump right into it. Apparently all the models are vanishing, like completely vanishing, like they just disappear and their clothes are left behind. Which, you know, I say that it makes me think of like the Left Behind series and the movie where their clothes are left behind and the person's gone. That's what it makes me think of. Anyway, so Janet, the person she had coffee with and went to go see the movie with, she's like, "You won't be seeing me around very much anymore because I'm going to be a model." Because she was trying to be a dancer, but she's gonna be a model. She's with Millie's Models, and they're going to pay for classes in the city. And she's like, "Why don't you give modeling a shot? You're way prettier than me. I mean, I'm sure you would make a great model." And Dazzler's like, "I don't know. I don't agree with her. I don't think I'm prettier than her. And plus, like, I'm trying to be a singer, an actress, and now a model. Like, she's like, I need to just figure this out on my own." And she's like, "I don't know what I should do." But since her friend Janet got um, to be a model, she's like, well, I should probably just give it a shot. So she does her own headshots. Has her background. She's the camera person. She's the lighting person. She makes her own dark room. She develops the pictures and sends them into Millie's Models. So, and then we have in the office of Millie's models. Okay, so this is Millie the Model from actually the comic book series that ran. I think it was, I want to say like 1943, 45, and that was when it was like Timely Comics, and then before it was Marvel, and then it was like Atomic Comics in the 50s, and then it was Marvel, and Millie's Models ran until I want to say 78. Oh, not positive. But yeah, so it ran for like 30 years or something, and it was about Millie's, adventures as a model. And there was she had her a guy she liked who I'm pretty sure was a photographer, and she had her frenemy that was also a fellow model, and they clashed a lot. Her name was like Chili Storm or something. So anyway, she gets the Dazzler's packet photos like a week later, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this girl's perfect. Let's book her. Let's find her." And so the uh, assistant Steve, because she was a male assistant, um, he's like, "Right away, I'll get right on it." And so here you see Dazzler talking to Roman, and basically she's like, I don't I don't know why you're helping me. I really just don't feel comfortable with it. I mean, why is a big star like you helping a nobody like me? And plus, I don't want to owe you anything. Like she feels like he has ulterior motives, which he does. Um, so she's like, I just think that, we should just stay away from each other, so to speak. And he's thinking to himself, she's playing hard to get anyway. Um, he says, I'm sorry, I just came here like I was coming to talk to you, and also I brought you your mail. And so she sees there's a envelope from Millie's Models. So, she's like, just Roman, just get out of here. But she wanted to look, and so she goes to Millie's Models for, her, I guess, interview acceptance, whatever. And she runs into this woman, Chili Storm. Like I said, Millie's nemesis from back when Millie the Model was a comic book. And so Chili tries to discourage Allison from, going in there. She's like, oh, they're not hiring. And Millie comes out and says, just because I'm not hiring, I haven't hired you, doesn't mean I'm not hiring. So I think it's fun that they inserted her as a past like Marvel property that hasn't, been in a comic book in years at this point I think it's fun that they inserted her into this. And so Chili's like, "Hey, Steve, how about you show me out, you know?" And so Millie says basically, welcome to Millie's Models. We really you know, like the look and we think you have talent and promise. So based on your original photos and general mannerism, congratulations. And yeah, so Allison leaves thinking, wow, I can't believe that. That was kind of so easy. Like I'm now a model. And Chili also was like, wow, I can't believe that. She's, a model. So it gets to be kind of hectic. And so I'm kind of curious. I feel like she's doing modeling in between also still teaching, her aerobics classes because we see her in future issues still teaching those classes. So she's on the phone to Janet saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm a model too. That was so easy." So they're all at this runway show for, let's see, what's his name? Doug Scruggs. And he's like this great fashion designer and they're all in his fashions. And Allison sees this card that got dropped on the ground and it says Revenge Inc. And it says, you get mad, we get even. So, and he also mentions the name Tom Devine. He's like, Millie, thank you for saving your best models for me and not letting them get into Tom Devine's hideous fashions or whatever. So, anytime people name drop, you know what that means. Like murder mystery movies, there's always a point to why they show you everything. Um, there's a reason for why they're showing you things or why characters pop up. Some of them I know who did it. Some of them I'm totally surprised by, but it's always someone, of course, that's always been introduced that has already been introduced in the book. Otherwise, you would not have any idea of who did it if they're not even ever introduced in the book. So Allison picks up this card thinking that Chili, who's just there kind of milling around, dropped it. Because, the card says, you get mad, we get even. And Chili is not happy that Millie has her own agency and has never hired Chili as a model. And all of a sudden, all the models start disappearing again, like just disappearing, but their clothes are left there. And so she confronts Chili about this, saying, you know, what are you doing? Why would you do this? Make it stop. And Chili's like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything. And Janet's like, Allie, don't let me. And she disappears. It makes me think of that scene in, where Spider-Man is disappearing and he's like, Mr. Stark. Anyway. And then all of a sudden, you know, all of them disappear. Except for Chili and Dazzler. And then they also disappear. Even though Chili is not part of the fashion show, she also disappears. And Millie is like, oh my gosh, they're all gone. Oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do now? What's going on? Like, and then they all appear in this cell. And obviously, they're not wearing the clothes that they were wearing when they were kidnapped because the clothes got left behind and they're wearing all new clothes. And they're like, where did these clothes come from? Like, what are we doing here? Where are we? And all of a sudden, this Dazzler calls him. A tiny little guy comes down the stairs. And he is Tom Devine, who they mentioned just, a couple pages earlier. And he's mad that people have forgotten about him. And he's like, I trained that Doug Scruggs. And yeah, he just basically tossed me aside. Like, um, yeah, he's just mad that he's no longer relevant. And then so he said, for years I didn't know what to do. I just, was very upset and just, was plotting on how I could get my revenge. And then he came across Revenge Inc. and he was able to get his revenge. And so he kidnapped all these models and put them in his clothes. And he's gonna, stage this big comeback fashion show with all these models wearing his clothes. And according to the models, these clothes are hideous. Let's see, what does she say? Yeah. And now my fashions and flamboyance shall once again catapult me to stardom. And one of the models says, with these pieces of, and the other model says, shh, this guy's crackers. See, in the orange and the yellow at the bottom. Anyway, so Dazzler's like, does anyone have a nail file? And they're like, oh, well, I guess, since we're going to be in a fashion show, we should look good, right? They're joking about it. And she's like, no, I'm going to use this nail file to escape. Really, the nail file is just a cover for her to use her powers, like to punch through the door. But of course, they don't notice what she's doing. They think it's the nail file, and so she is able to escape. And Tom, he has all his people working on his fashions and his fashion designs, and he realizes, oh no, they escaped. And so, Chili knocks him out, which I don't blame her, I guess, because she got kidnapped along with everybody else. Because he tries to escape, but they catch him. See, it's the weird thing is though, like this is the last page, and Dazzler quits. She's like, I'm not cut out to be a model. I don't want to be a model. And you're like, okay. Um, she's like, it was fun while it lasted, and Millie doesn't understand why she's leaving the agency. And I guess I mean, obviously it's a plot point. They have to have her leave because she really doesn't want to be a model in order to be famous. She wants to be a singer in order, and be famous as a singer. So Roman's waiting outside for her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" And he's like, "I don't give up that easily." And she reminds him about the party that they went to in issue I think it was 32 because it wasn't the last issue because the last issue was all about Michael Jackson's Thriller. So I think it was the issue before that. No, it was the last issue. Um, yeah, because they went to that party and met Robert Benson. Anyway, sorry. So he's like, I don't give up that easily, and she's like, I don't understand you. You took me to that party. You wanted me to make contacts. You wanted me to talk to people, and yet you wouldn't let me talk to anyone. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's that all about? And he's like, no, you got it all wrong. And he's like, I'll go this time, but I will return. So, what happens now, they said what's next is the Dazzler graphic novel, which which is this, which I have also talked about on my page. So they Marvel produced this, and it's about her rise to stardom and about Roman being in her life and just how she got revealed to the world as mutant. So yeah, you should, if you have been interested in watching these videos and have been enjoying them, you should definitely watch this video also. I will put this in the link to these videos in the comments since it's been a while since I've done these, or it, was a while ago since I did these. So anyway, I hope you join me for the next video, and that's gonna be Dazzler 35, and it'll be after Dazzler the movie. So the consequences of everyone finding out she's a mutant. So, like I said, you should join me for that video. Until next time, bye.